If you spend enough time on the internet, you'll come across all kinds of things. For most of us, the immediate reaction to what we find is to quickly dismiss it as fantasy or the creation of a sick mind. But sometimes, a question lingers in our minds. What if? What if there is some truth to it? Today, I invite you to join me in suspending your disbelief, if only for a little while, in order to entertain the question, what if? We are going to spend the next little bit exploring some of these strange stories and theories, and hopefully not break reality in the process. When it comes to strange occurrences, West Virginia is probably not the first place that comes to mind. You're probably more likely to think of a place like New Mexico or Nevada, but you'd be surprised. West Virginia and Appalachia as a whole have had more than their fair share of the unexplained. Today, I'm starting off by heading to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is the epicenter of what is probably the most famous episode of high strangeness to hit the area. I'm talking, of course, about the Mothman sightings and the collapse of the Silver Bridge. Back in November of 1966, sightings started being reported of a winged humanoid creature in the area around Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The sightings continued until December of 1967 and the collapse of the Silver Bridge that connected Point Pleasant with Ohio. A lot of people say the Mothman legend has its origins right here in Two Endy Way State Park, the burial site of Chief Cornstalk. In October of 1774, Chief Cornstalk fought his last battle here in support of the British against the settlers. Some say he used his last words to curse the victors, and that is the source of the Mothman and the collapse of the Silver Bridge. This whole town seems to have a Mothman theme. Sort of for tourism, I guess. But I get the feeling from people here that they genuinely believe that the Mothman thing was connected to the bridge collapse. There's a museum here in town that has everything you could hope for when it comes to Mothman lore. They have everything from movie props to pieces of the original Silver Bridge pulled up from the river. This place has the appearance of a typical small town, but with something much darker hidden behind the facade. Even the hotels seem to have been touched by something dark. Just ask anyone who stayed at the Low Hotel. The original report about the Mothman didn't take place in town. Back in 1966, two couples on a drive in the TNT area encountered a human-like creature with wings. When it took flight, they tried to drive away. Despite driving at speeds over 100 miles per hour, the creature was able to keep up with them and followed until they reached the town. You know, I've actually been here before, filming with my wife. It's kind of a creepy sort of area. I don't know what all goes on here, but once upon a time, I guess this was a testing site for explosives, or a place where they made them. In either case, they have these bunkers, which I'm coming up on one right now. Pretty creepy stuff. I don't know if going in one of these things is a good idea, but I'm gonna kind of go inside of this little bunker thing here and just have a quick look. I can definitely sense the creep factor here. More like, this thing could fall on down. I don't know. It looks pretty old. Probably from like the 1940s or something. World War II era. Metal gates on the front. And all kinds of crazy graffiti. But, yeah, this is where they saw, the original sighting of the Mothman started off. So I've got to investigate whether I'm afraid it's going to fall in on me or not. Well, there's a bunch of vines in here, too. You'll see it's very dark. Okay, well, I'm in this thing. It's very echoey, and I don't like being in here. So, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. This is, one of the bunkers anyway. Oh, let's get out of this thing.
After topping off the tank, I'm heading to one more Mothman-related site. If the account is true, then it predates the sighting that took place in the TNT area by 3 days. It happened 50 miles away at the Coots Cemetery in Clendenin, West Virginia.
So as the story goes, in November of 1966, Kenneth Duncan, as well as several other people, were digging a grave here. The grave was for Duncan's father-in-law. Well, as they were digging, Kenneth noticed a man-like creature fly out of the woods, fly overhead and off into the forest.
As strange as the Mothman sightings are, they aren't the only instances of strange and unexplained creatures in West Virginia. I'm heading east to the area around Flatwoods for a closer look at one that remains unexplained to this day. It happened in September of 1952. 3 boys noticed what looked like a meteor streak across the sky and land on a local farm. They went to a neighbor's home and all together went to go check it out. Upon arrival, they noticed a pulsing red light and started over the hill to see what it was.
You can never really see very far in West Virginia. You're always down between some mountains or surrounded by forest. I think for some people, maybe the locals, it gives them a sense of security. But I can't help feeling this sense of oppression, like I'm surrounded. Like anything could be up there in those trees looking down on me. I imagine that's the same way they felt for the rest of their lives, after they crested the hill and encountered what has come to be known as Braxy, or the Flatwoods Monster.
The monster was reported to have a red, spade-shaped face with eyes that glowed greenish-orange. It was something like 10 feet tall and wore a metallic robe or dress. The group dropped their flashlight and ran when the thing started moving toward them, making a hissing sound. These 2 encounters barely scratched the surface of what's out there. We like to think of ourselves as having pretty well figured things out with our modern science, but there is still very little that we know about this world we exist in. Now we reach the end of this episode. You are welcome to reanimate your disbeliefs and go back to everyday life. Or maybe a question will still linger in your mind. What if? I'll see you in the next one.